What happens when a disconnected CEO steps into his own fitness center disguised as a new hire and uncovers a culture of fear and quiet heroism? Welcome, amazing and insightful viewers. You have an incredible eye for stories that truly matter. Today's journey goes beyond dumbbells and treadmills. It's about courage, integrity, and the power of being seen. Join us as we follow Noah Sullivan on a powerful undercover mission that exposes injustice, elevates the deserving, and proves that real strength isn't just physical, it's standing up for what's right. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Let's dive in. Nathan Ellison sat in his corner office, the afternoon sun casting long shadows across the conference table as he scrolled through the latest internal reports from his chain of community fitness centers, VitalCore. Most branches were performing well, but one stood out for all the wrong reasons. VitalCore Oak Ridge, a location tucked away in a quiet suburban strip mall. At first glance, the numbers didn't raise alarms. Steady membership, stable revenue. But hidden beneath the surface were troubling patterns. Turnover had spiked, customer complaints were increasing, and employee satisfaction surveys, normally filled with helpful critiques, had become eerily blank. Nathan leaned back in his chair, brows furrowed, until one internal memo caught his eye. An anonymous submission read, "No one listens. Management treats us like machines. Camila keeps the place afloat, and they punish her for it." Another comment reported verbal abuse from the site manager, threats over missed shifts, and rumors of pay being docked for minor errors. It hit Nathan harder than expected. He had built VitalCore in memory of his late sister, a physical therapist who believed that wellness was about community as much as cardio. He had always prided himself on building an ethical, people-first workplace, especially for employees who needed a second chance. But somehow in scaling the business, he had lost the closeness that once defined it. Sitting in a high-rise conference room reviewing secondhand reports wasn't enough anymore. Something had gone wrong at Oak Ridge and he couldn't fix it through a memo or a phone call. He reached for a yellow notepad, wrote down the words Oak Ridge and Camila, then paused. If he truly wanted to understand what was happening, he'd need to see it with his own eyes, and not as the CEO. No, this time, he'd step inside the building as someone completely forgettable, a fly on the wall, a janitor. And with that decision, the plan to become Noah Harris, an invisible worker in his own company, began. Nathan Ellison spent the weekend transforming himself into someone entirely unrecognizable. Gone were his tailored sport coats and polished leather shoes, replaced by a faded gray hoodie, scuffed work boots, and worn cargo pants that hung slightly too loose. His usually clean-cut hair was buzzed down to stubble, and a pair of scratched safety glasses completed the look. He practiced his new name in the mirror, Noah Harris, a low-key guy with no college degree, no digital footprint, and a paper resume listing odd jobs in janitorial maintenance and gym sanitation. His backstory was airtight. Recently relocated from another city after a layoff, now looking to rebuild quietly in a new place. With help from a friend in HR who discreetly inserted him into the temp roster, Nathan slipped beneath the radar, just another worker assigned to VitalCore Oak Ridge for facility upkeep. The application process was startlingly casual. A rushed phone call from the assistant manager, no background check, no questions about experience. "You clean? Great, be here Monday at 6 a.m. That was it. No one at the location had ever met Nathan in person. His leadership style was intentionally hands-off. To the staff, he was a name on company emails they never read. That anonymity, once a luxury, was now his shield. As he packed a modest duffel bag and left his wedding band at home, Nathan felt an unfamiliar tightness in his chest. He wasn't just going undercover to observe, he was walking into a place where his values were being quietly eroded. As Noah Harris, he would scrub toilets, mop sweat from mirrors, and blend into the background. But he'd also be listening, watching, and quietly collecting the truth that spreadsheets could never reveal. The early morning sky was still cloaked in darkness when Nathan, now Noah Harris, stepped into the back entrance of VitalCore Oak Ridge. The building looked impressive from the front, glass walls reflecting city lights, a glowing sign promising health, energy, and excellence. But behind the facade, where employees clocked in through a battered side door, the atmosphere told a different story. The hallway smelled faintly of mildew. The break room had mismatched chairs, a humming mini fridge, and passive-aggressive signs like no food theft and clock out before eating. A bleary-eyed trainer nodded at him but didn't bother introducing herself. The assistant manager, a wiry man with a clipped tone named Trent, handed Noah a gray uniform polo and waved a hand toward a broom closet. "That's your gear. You'll be rotating between locker rooms, weight floor, and spa. Don't get in the members' way." Noah took it all in silently. There was no welcome packet, no formal orientation, just a dirty mop, a checklist on a clipboard, and a subtle warning to stay invisible. Over the next hour, he learned more by watching than by instruction. Staff whispered in corners, trainers avoided eye contact with management. One older front desk associate, Carla, smiled politely but moved with weary caution, like someone used to being reprimanded for things outside her control. When Noah entered the men's locker room for his first cleaning sweep, he passed by a bulletin board of policies and expectations. But half the notices were faded, outdated, or partially torn. This wasn't the flagship operation it pretended to be from the sidewalk. He glanced around one more time before getting to work, already sensing the undercurrent of frustration running beneath the glitzy machines and corporate slogans. Whatever was wrong here wasn't on the surface, but he was ready to dig deeper. Noah first noticed Camila Reyes during his second shift, right after a grueling round of cleaning near the smoothie bar. She stood near the front desk, her dark curls pulled into a tight bun, eyes scanning the lobby with quiet focus. Camila wasn't flashy like the other trainers who flaunted their physiques or chatted loudly with VIP clients. Instead, she moved with precision, efficient, grounded, observant. When an elderly member struggled with the card scanner, she was the only one who offered help without being asked. Later that day, while wiping down equipment in the stretching zone, Noah overheard a tense exchange between Camila and Trent. He barked something about her spending too much time with non-premium clients. She responded calmly, "I treat everyone like they matter. Isn't that the point?" Trent rolled his eyes and walked away, muttering under his breath. Curious, Noah struck up conversation during their break. Camila was wary at first, but warmed up when she learned he wasn't another intern chasing clout. She shared that she'd been at VitalCore for almost 2 years and had seen the culture shift sharply once upper management pushed elite branding over community service. "If you're not beautiful, rich, or under 30, she said, you're invisible here, even if you're the one cleaning up everyone's mess." Her words stuck with Noah. She wasn't just good at her job, she cared. And in a place like this, that made her dangerous. Or maybe exactly the kind of ally he needed. Over the next several days, Noah quietly mapped the inner workings of VitalCore from the shadows of the janitorial team. From the glossy reception area to the locker-lined hallways, the cracks in the center's sleek image became glaring. It wasn't the equipment or facilities that were failing, it was the leadership. Noah watched as premium members were greeted with beaming smiles, while older or less affluent patrons were met with lukewarm nods or left waiting for assistance. Trainers were instructed to focus on high-spending clients who bought private packages, while group class attendees were treated like background noise. The gym claimed to value wellness for all, but its actions screamed exclusivity. Worse still was the staff treatment. Noah witnessed Camila constantly covering for coworkers who slacked off or simply didn't show up, without extra pay or even a thank you. On one occasion, he overheard a trainer mock a disabled member for taking up prime machine space, only for Camila to step in, adjust the machine herself, and guide the man through a modified routine with gentle encouragement. She didn't boast about it, she just did it, quietly, professionally. Meanwhile, Trent strutted through the facility like a show dog, barking orders and cutting hours for staff who challenged him. He publicly shamed a front desk clerk for missing a minor check-in scan and casually joked that janitorial staff should be seen, not heard. Noah took notes, literal ones. Every unfair schedule change, every complaint brushed under the rug, every instance of favoritism or verbal abuse. He tracked how the newer hires were being set up to fail, given vague instructions, and then reprimanded when tasks weren't done correctly. Camila, despite being the most competent and dedicated staff member, was repeatedly passed over for leadership opportunities in favor of younger, less experienced trainers who fit the VitalCore image. The longer he stayed, the clearer it became. VitalCore had drifted far from the inclusive wellness brand his father had once envisioned. Its exterior gleamed, but its foundation was cracking, and the ones holding it up, like Camilla, were being buried beneath the weight of ambition and appearances. Noah had seen enough. But before he could fix anything, he needed one more thing. The breaking point came on a rainy Thursday afternoon during peak hours. The front lobby buzzed with clients checking in for premium training sessions and high-energy spin classes. Noah was restocking towels near the free weight area when a commotion erupted near the smoothie bar. An elderly man, Mr. Alvarez, a longtime member known for his quiet routine and friendly greetings, was struggling to lift himself off a bench. His hands trembled and his face was pale. Camila rushed over first, kneeling beside him, offering water and steady reassurance. She called out for assistance, her voice sharp with concern. Instead of responding with urgency, Trent strolled over, unfazed and irritated. "He probably just pushed too hard," he said with a shrug, glancing around at the watching clientele. "We don't need a scene." Camilla's eyes flared. "He needs help, Trent. Call an ambulance." But Trent waved her off. "You're overreacting. Again. If you keep playing nurse, maybe you should go work at a clinic instead of a performance gym." The words echoed through the lobby. Noah, nearby, watched in disbelief as Trent dismissed the moment and turned back toward his office. Camila remained with Mr. Alvarez, cradling his shoulders until paramedics finally arrived, after she dialed emergency services herself. The paramedics confirmed what she feared. He had experienced a mild cardiac episode. Her instincts had likely saved his life. But instead of gratitude, Camila was met with punishment. The next day, a notice was pinned near the break room. Effective immediately, Camila Reyes is suspended for failure to adhere to client interaction protocol. Rumors swirled that Trent had blamed her for causing unnecessary alarm and upsetting high-profile members. The staff was stunned, but silent. No one noticed how Olivia, the front desk assistant, refused to make eye contact with anyone, and how Rico, one of the trainers, quietly removed Camilla's name from the whiteboard schedule with a clenched jaw. It was clear, if you stood up for someone at VitalCore, you paid for it. That night, as the rain poured outside and staff whispered in corners, no one knew it was time. Camila had done the right thing and paid the price. He couldn't stay silent any longer. The moment demanded action, real action, and he was ready to show them exactly who he was. The following Monday, tension buzzed through the air at VitalCore Fitness like static before a storm. Staff shuffled through their routines with wary eyes, still unsettled by Camila's sudden suspension. The whiteboard was blank where her name used to be. No one dared speak aloud what they were all thinking, that the wrong person had been punished, and the real issue was being buried. Just before the lunch rush, a mandatory staff meeting was announced over the intercom. Employees gathered in the central lounge, exchanging nervous glances. Trent stood near the front, arms crossed, smug and confident as ever. But when Noah stepped into the room, not in his usual faded hoodie and staff badge, but in a tailored charcoal blazer and polished shoes, the energy shifted. Whispers rippled through the group. Trent's cocky expression faltered. "Thanks for coming," Noah began, calm and composed. "Before we start, I think there's something you all deserve to know." He removed his baseball cap and straightened up. "I'm not just Noah the Temp. My full name is Noah Castillo. I'm the co-founder and majority owner of VitalCore." Silence dropped like a weight. Trent blinked. "Wait? What?" "I went undercover because I needed to understand what was really happening at the heart of this company," Noah said. "What I found wasn't just mismanagement. It was manipulation, fear, and punishment for doing the right thing." He turned toward the staff. "I watched how hard you all worked. I saw how you kept this place running despite being overworked, disrespected, and unheard. And I saw Camila stand up for someone who needed help, only to be silenced for it." He held up a printed report. "These are the internal findings: falsified incident records, wage manipulation, retaliatory scheduling, all traced back to Trent." Trent's face was drained of color. "You can't just—" "You're fired," Noah cut in, voice cold and clear. "Effective immediately." A stunned hush fell over the room, then a smattering of relieved gasps. Olivia's hand flew to her mouth, and Rico let out a soft, stunned, "Finally." Noah looked to the team. Camila will be reinstated with full back pay, and from now on, things at VitalCore will be done the right way, with transparency, fairness, and respect. For the first time in weeks, the staff didn't just look surprised, they looked hopeful. The days following Trent's dismissal marked a turning point at VitalCore Fitness. The atmosphere, once thick with anxiety and whispered complaints, gradually began to shift. Noah made it a priority to personally check in with every team member, listening more than he spoke. But one decision was clear from the start. Camila Reyes would not only be reinstated, she would be promoted. In front of the entire team, Noah announced her new position as operations supervisor, praising her unwavering integrity and dedication to her colleagues. Camila blinked in disbelief, hands trembling slightly as she accepted the new title. "You stood up when others stayed silent," Noah said. "That's the kind of leadership this company needs." But she wasn't the only one, recognized. Olivia, the front desk associate who often soothed tense customer interactions and picked up countless extra shifts without complaint, was offered a role as client services lead. Rico, whose quiet efficiency had kept the gym running even under pressure, was appointed facility coordinator with a pay increase and set hours. Noah addressed the team with a quiet but firm promise. "No more recognition only when things go wrong. From now on, we reward effort, honesty, and care." There were no applause signs or dramatic music, but the smiles exchanged among the staff, the relaxed shoulders, and the sighs of relief said more than any celebration ever could. The people who had carried VitalCore through its darkest weeks were finally seen, valued, and empowered. Restoring the culture at VitalCore Fitness took more than just new titles and promises. It required a shift in how the entire team interacted, both with each other and with the clients they served. Noah implemented weekly team meetings focused on feedback, where everyone, from front desk associates to trainers, had the chance to voice concerns or suggestions without fear of retaliation. He encouraged transparency in every decision, from scheduling to customer service policies. Camila, now in her new role as operations supervisor, led these meetings, ensuring that team morale remained a priority. Noah also made it a point to reinstate proper training programs, including customer service workshops and leadership development courses for everyone. These initiatives weren't just about building skills, they were about rebuilding trust. Employees who had been marginalized now felt included and heard, and the once toxic atmosphere gradually turned into a space of cooperation and shared responsibility. Even the gym's aesthetics began to reflect this change. The walls, once bare and impersonal, were adorned with motivational posters that celebrated teamwork and the core values of respect, inclusivity, and fairness. The change wasn't instant, but as Noah continued to show up alongside his team, leading with empathy and consistency, the culture at VitalCore began to solidify. It wasn't just about running a successful fitness center anymore. It was about creating a workplace where people wanted to come in, collaborate, and grow. Standing at the front desk of VitalCore Fitness, watching Camila guide a new hire through orientation with calm authority, Noah Sullivan felt an unfamiliar but welcome sense of peace. Just weeks ago, this place had been quietly crumbling beneath the surface, its culture corroded by neglect and abuse of power. Now, laughter echoed in the locker rooms, schedules were fair, and employees no longer walked on eggshells. Noah hadn't planned on going undercover, but stepping into the daily grind, seeing the strain in Camila's eyes, and hearing the fear in the voices of his own team, those moments changed him. Real leadership, he realized, wasn't about overseeing from a distance. It was about stepping in when it mattered most and lifting up those who'd been carrying the weight without recognition. The success of a fitness center wasn't measured just by profits or memberships. It was in the strength of its people. As he glanced one last time at the team core values board Camila had helped create, Noah knew this transformation wasn't a quick fix. It was a commitment, a daily practice, just like fitness itself. And this time, the results would last. The story of Noah Sullivan and VitalCore Fitness teaches a powerful lesson about leadership, accountability, and the importance of staying connected to the people who keep an organization running. Despite his good intentions, Noah had become too removed from the daily realities of his team. It wasn't until he stepped into their world, disguised as a new hire, that he saw the truth. Toxic leadership, unfair treatment, and a culture of fear were eroding the very foundation of his company. By witnessing the struggles firsthand, especially through the eyes of a hardworking trainer like Camila Reyes, Noah understood that policies on paper mean nothing if not backed by empathy and action. His experience proved that true leadership isn't about titles or offices. It's about listening, stepping up when it's uncomfortable, and standing beside those who've been overlooked. The transformation at Vitacore wasn't just about removing a bad manager or promoting the right people. It was about restoring trust, dignity, and a shared sense of purpose. The biggest lesson? Culture starts at the top, but it lives and breathes through every employee. And when leadership chooses integrity over image, the entire team can thrive.